Welcome back to my channel. Today we explore the value of specific coins, the top 6 UK Kennedy half-dollar coins value in today's market. So let's get started. First up, the 1972 D Kennedy half-dollar, specifically in extra fine or XF condition. If you've come across one of these coins in your collection, you might be wondering what it's really worth in today's market. The Kennedy half-dollar was first minted in 1964 as a tribute to President John F. Kennedy after his assassination in 1963. The 1972 version with a D mint mark was struck at the Denver Mint. By this time, these coins were no longer made with silver. They were composed primarily of copper and nickel. Though millions were produced, certain 1972 D coins are sought after by collectors, particularly those in high grades or with notable minting errors. However, for the purposes of this video, we're focusing on a standard 1972 D Kennedy half-dollar in extra fine condition. In today's U.S. coin market, a 1972 D Kennedy half-dollar in extra fine condition typically carries a value of around $1.50 to $2.50. While that's slightly above face value, it's not considered a rare or high-value coin unless it's in mint state or proof condition, or features a significant error. Now, if the same coin had a minting mistake, such as a double die or off-center strike, its value could rise significantly, sometimes reaching into the hundreds of dollars depending on rarity and demand. It's important to clarify that the term UK Kennedy half-dollar is a bit of a misnomer. Kennedy half-dollars are US coins, and while collectors in the United Kingdom might acquire them, their value is determined by the US coin market. In the UK, due to exchange rates and collectability, you might see slightly different prices, but they generally align with US valuations. So, is the 1972 D Kennedy half-dollar valuable? In extra fine condition, it holds some modest value above face, but unless you have one in near-perfect condition or with a rare mint error, it's more of a sentimental or starter piece in a collection rather than a high-value investment. Next up, the 1985 D Kennedy half-dollar specifically, one that's in damaged or circulated condition. Despite not being a rare coin in general, certain examples have still managed to fetch surprising values in today's market. Let's break it down. The Kennedy half-dollar was first issued in 1964, just months after the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. By 1985, these coins were made for general circulation and struck primarily in copper-nickel-clad composition. The Denver Mint produced over 15 million half-dollars that year, so it's not considered rare in mint state or circulated grades. When we talk about a damaged 1985 D Kennedy half-dollar, we're referring to coins that show heavy signs of wear, corrosion, scratches, or other physical issues that reduce their collectible appeal. Typically, damaged coins are worth only face value 50 cents. However, there are some exceptions. In today's market, a standard damaged 1985-D Kennedy half-dollar generally sells for between 50 cents and $1, depending on the severity of the damage. However, if the coin has unique errors such as off-center strikes, double dies, or rare planchet flaws even in damaged condition, it could bring anywhere from $10 to over $50, depending on demand and rarity. That said, error coins are relatively rare, and professional grading is recommended if you suspect your coin may be special. While a damaged 1985 D Kennedy half-dollar is not usually considered valuable, it's still a part of American history. For collectors and enthusiasts, even low-value coins can hold interest, especially when they're part of a larger collection or have unique characteristics. If you believe you have a rare error coin or just want to get an accurate assessment, consult a reputable coin dealer or submit it to a grading service like PCGS or NGC. Next up, the 1988 Kennedy half-dollar with the P mint mark. Specifically, we'll discuss its value in damaged or circulated condition and whether it's worth keeping or selling in today's coin market. The Kennedy half-dollar was introduced in 1964 as a tribute to President John F. Kennedy following his assassination. By 1988, the coin was made primarily for circulation and struck in a copper-nickel-clad composition. The P mint mark stands for the Philadelphia Mint, which produced millions of these coins that year. In 1988 alone, The Philadelphia Mint produced over 20 million Kennedy half dollars, making it a relatively common coin. Because of that high mintage, most circulated examples, especially those in poor or damaged condition, are only worth face value. Now, let's talk numbers. If your 1988 Kennedy half dollar is in heavily worn or damaged condition, for example, it has scratches, corrosion, or is bent, its value is typically around 50 cents, which is its face value. In rare cases, if the coin has an unusual error, like an off-center strike or a double die, it could be worth more even if it's damaged. However, a standard damaged 1988 coin without such errors is not considered valuable by collectors. For comparison, uncirculated or mint state examples can sell for a bit more. A 1988 Kennedy half dollar graded MS-65 by a reputable grading service can fetch anywhere from $5 to $15. The highest grade examples, such as MS-67, may reach up to $100 or slightly more, depending on the buyer. So, is your 1988 Sakias P. Kennedy half dollar worth anything in damaged condition? In most cases, it's not. Unless it features a rare mint error or is in exceptional condition, it's usually worth just its face value. Next up, the 1974 Kennedy half dollar with no mint mark, and what it's worth in today's market if it's in normal circulated condition. The 1974 Kennedy half dollar was minted in Philadelphia, which traditionally does not use a mint mark. This coin features the profile of President John F. Kennedy on the obverse and the presidential seal on the reverse. It's made of a copper-nickel-clad composition and was part of regular circulation. Now, the 1974 Kennedy half dollar is generally considered a common coin. Over 200 million of these were produced at the Philadelphia Mint alone. However, collectors are still interested in them, especially if the coin is in high-grade uncirculated condition, proof, or shows any unusual errors. But for a regular 1974 Kennedy half dollar with no mint mark in average, circulated condition meaning it shows wear, but is still fully readable, it doesn't fetch a premium price. As of 2025, the typical market value for a circulated 1974 Kennedy half dollar without a mint mark ranges from 50 cents to $1. This is primarily due to its face value and the lack of silver content. Uncirculated examples coins that have never been used in commerce might sell for $2 to $5, depending on condition and whether they've been graded by a professional service. So while the 1974 no mint mark Kennedy half dollar is not particularly rare or valuable in average condition, it still holds historical and collector value. It's a great starter coin for new collectors or those interested in U.S. history. Next up, the 1968 D Kennedy half dollar, a coin that may look ordinary, especially when it's dirty or worn, but can still hold surprising value. The 1968 D Kennedy half dollar was struck at the Denver Mint and is composed of 40% silver, a composition used from 1965 through 1970. This coin features the familiar portrait of President John F. Kennedy on the obverse and the heraldic eagle on the reverse. While these coins were minted in large numbers, their silver content keeps them in demand among collectors and investors alike. Now, we're not talking about pristine, uncirculated coins today. We're focusing on a well-worn, dirty example, the kind you might find in old coin jars, estate sales, or inherited collections. The condition we're discussing would be classified as circulated possibly with grime, discoloration, and moderate to heavy wear. As of today, the average silver melt value of a 1968 D Kennedy half dollar is around $4 to $5 USD based on the current silver spot price. However, some collectors may be willing to pay a bit more, up to $6 or $7, if the coin retains decent detail or is part of a larger lot. Keep in mind, condition is key for numismatic value, but for coins like this, silver content usually sets the floor price. Even in poor condition, these coins are worth holding onto, especially in bulk. Though most 1968 D Kennedy half dollars are common, there are a few error varieties that could boost value significantly, such as double dies or off-center strikes. If you suspect your coin may have an error, it's worth having it checked by a professional or submitting it to a coin grading service. So if you have a dirty old 1968 D Kennedy half dollar lying around, don't toss it. At the very least, its silver content makes it worth more than face value and potentially much more if it has any collectible features. Next up, the 1973 Kennedy half dollar. Specifically, we're going to take a closer look at the value of the 1973 Kennedy half dollar with no mint mark, in good condition, and its current market value. The 1973 Kennedy half dollar is part of the series that was minted to honor President John F. Kennedy. It was produced in relatively large numbers, but there's an interesting factor about the 1973 coin, its lack of a mint mark. For those who aren't familiar, mint marks are used to identify where a coin was struck, and for the 1973 half dollar, there were coins minted in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. However, the Philadelphia Mint did not place a mint mark on coins struck there in that year. In terms of value, a 1973 Kennedy half dollar in good condition, which typically means having minimal wear with clear details and a nice overall appearance, can fetch anywhere between $3 to $5 in today's market. This value is primarily based on the coin's silver content, which is about 40%. This makes the coin still valuable beyond its face value. However, the value can vary depending on specific market conditions, such as the price of silver or the coin's condition. If the coin is in exceptional condition such as MS65 or higher, meaning it's nearly mint or flawless, the value could rise significantly, possibly reaching around $10 to $15 or even higher. The most important factor affecting the value of the 1973 Kennedy half dollar is the price of silver. Because the coin contains 40% silver, fluctuations in the silver market can directly impact how much collectors and investors are willing to pay for it. Additionally, coin condition, rarity, and demand within the numismatic market will play a role in determining its overall worth. While the 1973 Kennedy half dollar without a mint mark may not be one of the rarest or most expensive coins in circulation, it's still a valuable piece due to its silver content and historical significance. In good condition, you can expect it to be worth around $3 to $5, with the potential for higher value depending on its quality. If you're a collector or just interested in learning more about coins, keep an eye out for these 1973 Kennedy half dollars. They might just surprise you with their value. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the world of coins and collectibles. Got a coin you're curious about? Drop it in the comments. I might feature it in a future video. See you next time. Happy collecting!